Yeah. I didn't want to make an edited video about what I think about this lawsuit. I just wanted to get my thoughts into a video. Full disclosure, I don't play on Turtlewow. I tried it. Wasn't super fond of it. I appreciated it, but I didn't play there. Alright, the lawsuit of Blizzard v. Turtlewow, filed in California. So what's named is the fictitious entities Turtlewow, AFK Craft Limited in Hong Kong, and 10 of the people involved in running Turtlewow. I'm sure there's more. Just have to turn off the volume on my monitor. Anyway, so what do we have here? Turtlewow, AFK Craft, and 10 people, including Julia Savko, who is Torda, who is Shenna. Here is Shenna yet again involved in something that's going to affect how we play World of Warcraft. Now, the last time she got involved in this, I know she didn't want to get involved in it, but was when Nostalrius gave Elysium, for whatever reason, gave Elysium the DB to their DB from Nostalrius to Elysium, and that was after after Blizzard failed to create private servers, and then after they saw what was getting out of control, a situation beyond their control, they decided, let's go ahead and make classic servers because of what had happened at Nostalrius and Elysium. And Elysium was an unmitigated disaster. It was a clown car shit show for sure. All right, to today. Now, the complaint is basically all copyright infringements and includes RICO charges. Now, I had to check this out. I didn't think you could have RICO civil charges without a RICO criminal case, but I was wrong. I did go and check that out. You can have a RICO civil case, which is strange to me. I went through this and highlighted a bunch of things that I wanted to talk about. Blizzard has long taken steps to protect its valuable intellectual property. This is true of many, if not most, companies. You have valuable intellectual property, including your trademarks. You want to protect it. Not unusual. The defendants in this action have built an entire business on large-scale, egregious, and ongoing infringement of Blizzard's intellectual property. This is true. We all know this, and we know we've been involved in this gray world of intellectual property. We know that the private servers are in that gray world. We know we're dealing in a pirate economy. We know that. We know, we have to draw a moral baseline somewhere. We know for a fact that this is not entirely above board. Turtlewow's unauthorized servers harm the player experience in several ways. By way of example, these unauthorized private servers drive away otherwise dedicated WoW players, introduce security risks, fragment the WoW player community, and create confusion as to what are official supported versions of WoW. This argument, to me, is a bit of a stretch. Why? Was it the unauthorized private servers that drove people away from WoW, from Blizzard's WoW? No, of course it wasn't. When did this start happening? It basically started happening almost immediately after World of Warcraft existed. I can think of 2007, I think Krog had a private server. There was probably some before that. And when did it get popular and when did it actually start making money was during CATA, wasn't it? And it wasn't those private servers that drove people away from World of Warcraft retail. It was the fact that people hated CATA. That's what the cause was, wasn't it? So to make this argument is to say that In a world where private servers don't exist, all those people would be playing Blizzard World of Warcraft? No, all those people would not be playing. Still, it is their intellectual property. Turtlewow is among the largest and most sophisticated private WoW servers available today, which is true, which begs the question, why is it only Turtlewow? Why was Ascension, why did they not have a lawsuit against Ascension at the same time? I don't want to talk too much about that because I'm out of my depth, but I did like to know the answer to it. They have encouraged and induced members of the public to install that software. Induced is a strong word. Recently, Turtlewow has been brazenly escalating its efforts to cannibalize and disrupt Blizzard's WoW player community. Has not Ascension also done that recently? I mean, Ascension is freaking advertising on YouTube. This might be the issue, though. Partnering with video game influencers and actively promoting a new version of its infringing game Turtlewow 2.0. This might be why. Undermining the creative work of Blizzard's skilled and devoted employees, which is true. This is, actually, back here is the issue. Replicating the entity of WoW game into the new Unreal Engine 5 video game engine. That could be the main reason why. I'm just not so sure about that, though. I mean, they may have felt that that's the most important thing because of Unreal Engine 5. But, I mean, really, I don't know. When you look at World of Warcraft in an engine like that, it really doesn't look like World of Warcraft anymore. I don't know. I really don't know. Have they undermined the creative work of Blizzard's skilled and devoted employees? They have. They've taken their work, their copyrighted material, and used it, and not a penny of that goes back to World of Warcraft, to Blizzard. We know that's true. They're working together to operate a sophisticated and lucrative global enterprise that develops and sells software. What's that, sells software? The defendants know illegally infringes on Blizzard's trademark and copyrights. That is true. I don't know about that sells part, though. Defendants participating in this enterprise, including authoring and distributing extensive U.S. marketing campaigns and funding solicitations to tout pirated content, constitutes illegal racketeering activity. This is them building the RICO case. Defendants could, but refuse to, restrict the use of their emulated servers within the United States. Therein lies the rub, isn't it? This is the only thing that Blizzard can actually affect. Additionally, one or more defendants have affirmatively asserted to the end-user licensing agreement required to, now they're saying here that the 10 aforementioned people in this lawsuit have been players of Blizzard and agreed to the end-user licensing agreement, which they are now not in compliance with by undertaking this enterprise. That is troubling for them. The Turtlewow entity purports to be located in Kazakhstan. However, Blizzard has reason to believe that the Turtlewow entity is an underfunded fictional shell company that operates as a mere alter ego of an unincorporated association of the individual defendants. What they're saying here is that the structure of Turtlewow is not that of a business that was created to operate in perpetuity, which is a necessary fact for an actual business in the United States, that it is created to siphon money from its players for as long as it can. Which, I mean, both of these things can be true simultaneously. They I mean, really, we know that they will care to operate as long as they can, like any other World of Warcraft private server, to make as much money as they possibly can, which is more true of the current WoW universe. This didn't used to be true, but this is now true. And that they were not created to be an ongoing enterprise. Basically true. The company is located in Hong Kong, has servers throughout Southeast Asia. This is true. I guess their main server is where? In the Netherlands? I'm guessing that they do their banking out of Hong Kong. I do not know the answer to that. Now, here's the listing of the 10 defendants, which represent this fictitious enterprise. Torta, which is Shena, is an individual residing in Moscow. I presume that's true. I'm sure she's in Russia somewhere. Blizzard is informed believes on the basis the defendant Shagu is an individual who resides in Stuttgart, Germany. Now, Shagu, as a developer in Turtlewow, I did not know that to be true. I don't know that to be true just because it's listed here. I mean, this is really painful to me. Shagu, who has been an incredible force in the private WoW server community for some time now, is listed here, and now his website is reduced. His website's pretty much gone now. Where's I have a printout here somewhere. Where is it? Is this it? Yeah, this is all his website says now. And he states here, this was yesterday, I've never worked for Turtlewow and was never part of their team. I independently developed open source add-ons. This is, I mean, that's the Shagu I knew. I did not know that he was involved in administering this. I can't believe it's true. It's possibly true. I simply made adjustments to my add-ons at goodwill for the players, free of charge. I mean, he doesn't make money doing this. I wonder if his database is still up though of his add-ons. This is really, really disappointing to me and pretty painful. So he's in Germany. Now this is the guy that's in trouble. Zimmer Akalix is an individual who resides in Augusta, Michigan. He is the only one that resides in the United States. So if they're going to have their court case, if they're actually going to have a court case in a federal court, on one side of the judge will be Blizzard, and on the other side is going to be this guy. I think. So Shena posted, Turtlewow is here to stay. Challenges come to us often, and each time we are prepared to face them. We remain fully committed. I mean, what are they fully committed to? Are they going to send this guy money for a lawyer? I hope so. I'll tell you what they're going to be fully committed to is keeping their revenue stream open. That's going to be where their challenges are. I mean, I don't have anything against Shena, really. But, man, I hope this dude is in for a world of hurt. Everybody else here, Bulgaria, Netherlands, Romania, Netherlands, Czech Republic, Germany, Russia. All of these people are the DOE defendants because of the aliases that they use. So none of those people are going to appear in court. None of those people are going to need to pay attention to this in any way other than how it is going to affect the bottom line at Turtlewow. While some of defendants have worked behind the scenes and others, such as Zimmer and Savko, have a public-facing presence, all of them communicate and work together to ensure that Turtlewow functions properly, remains appealing to its existing and potential customer base, and is profitable for all involved. So they're building the RICO case here. In order to recoup its massive investments in WoW and to pay for the substantial ongoing maintenance and updates to the game, Blizzard charges users a subscription fee. So this again is the basis of a financial argument, which I don't see how it's going to be effective. The implication that people that would be playing on private servers, in the absence of those, would instead be playing on Blizzard servers is a nonsense argument. We know that. Prior to playing WoW and installing the WoW client software, players are required to set up a Battle.net account. So we're getting at the end user licensing agreement here. And the BattleNet did not even exist until CATA, I think. I don't think this argument matters for the fact that they're emulating pre-BattleNet launcher software. I don't think that makes a difference. Blizzard is informed and believes, and on that basis alleges, that Turtlewow primarily is directed by Shenna, who oversees the operation of Turtlewow through fictitious shell companies such as Turtlewow and AFK Craft. This is true. Shenna is the one that drives it. Defendants aggressively market and advertise Turtlewow in the United States. Now, this is part of the problem, is the actions, the activities that happen in the U.S. This is what they're going to go after. And there's some Blizzard artwork. Yep. Defendants downloaded and copied an older version of Blizzard's original WoW client and then made several modifications. This is true. Well, I think I was saying that this was pre-BattleNet launcher. Defendants offer at least 9 different Turtlewow servers, including at least one server dedicated to North American audience. This is what they're after. Many, if not all, of these people are or previously were subscribers and players of WoW on Blizzard servers and possess or possessed WoW accounts. Accordingly, many, if not all, of the players on the Turtlewow servers at one time consented to Blizzard's EULA and agreed not to play WoW on emulated or unofficial servers. Obviously, they're not going after every player. They're saying here, those that agreed to the EULA, which is going to be the Zimmer guy, whoever that guy is, I feel sorry for him. Blizzard is informed and believes, and on that basis alleges, that defendants have made hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars from user donations. Turtlewow also has caused significant and irreparable harm to Blizzard. The harm includes, but is not limited to, lost revenue from former WoW players who have been diverted to Turtlewow. Again, this argument, I mean, now, if this Zimmer fellow has to actually show up in court, and if Shenna is going to wire over the money for him to have an actual lawyer, we can have an argument here as to exactly when and how people left the Blizzard universe to play private servers. And I don't think that correlation is causation. We know that correlation is not causation in this case. People didn't stop playing Blizzard because something else was out there that looked better. They stopped playing because they didn't like it. That's what happened. Turtlewow also harms and degrades Blizzard's valuable intellectual property. This is true. When your copyrighted material and trademarks start becoming diluted by outside activities, it does harm the original content. Turtlewow user created a thread titled Relocation Suggestion for the development team, noting that the threat of a copyright takedown notice from Blizzard is a very real danger that the team does not seem to take very seriously, and suggested that the Turtlewow team relocate their operations to the country of San Marino due to the fact that San Marino has no copyright laws. Defendant Zimmer responded, "Fortunately, I can assure you this, i.e. that the team doesn't seem to be taking copyright takedowns very seriously, isn't the case. However, it's best for us not to overshare." And here's Zimmer. Here he is, holding the bag. This is really unfortunate for him. Now, the counts they list are all basically copyright infringement. And the value of which, I mean, if this was to actually go to court, Blizzard is entitled to maximum statutory damages of $150,000 for each copyright infringement. Blizzard furthers its attorney fees. This is all copyright infringement. Blizzard has no adequate remedy at law, at least internationally. That's true. Infringement. The DMCA, which is internet infringement. contractual relations. I guess they're referring back to the EULA that we have all agreed to at some point when we play World of Warcraft. Now, this is where the real trouble is internationally, is that there are trademark agreements that Blizzard has in other countries, but no one has ever, not to my knowledge, no one has ever successfully fought in other countries, or Blizzard has never successfully fought in other countries to win back their trademarks, which are used gratuitously by all the private servers. And the building of the RICO charges, which is, excuse me, strange to me. To be a RICO charge, I think they even mention it here somewhere. Well, it's in here somewhere, I'm sure. To be a RICO charge, there needs to be lost monies in interstate commerce or international commerce. There needs to be a provable loss of money. I really don't know how this would work. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't understand how this could work. Because first you'd have to prove that the monies made are monies that you lost directly. And how do you do that? How do you do that? Because, like I'm saying, there's no correlation is not causation. Like, you can't prove that people that are playing Blizzard or playing World of Warcraft would have been playing Blizzard's WoW otherwise. The enterprise has engaged in and their activities have affected interstate, here it is, and even foreign commerce. The enterprise's marketing hub is located within and directed from Michigan. With this guy Zimmer, man, he's in a lot of trouble. Oh my God. So, I mean, their marketing activities are led there, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the criminal activity is led there. It doesn't necessarily mean that there's a correlation or causation between people paying to, in one form or another, paying Turtlewow is monies that would have been paid to Blizzard. At any rate, this guy Zimmer is in a lot of trouble. What else do we got? As alleged herein, Blizzard has suffered harm and been injured in the United States. This is true. I mean, they have been harmed by other people using all of their copyrighted materials and not paying a penny for it. That is true. The relief that they're seeking preliminarily and permanently enjoining defendants. Now, this is what has me confused here. They're not preliminarily specifically saying that they want the website and all activities blocked, right? Their office employees acting, participating from, infringing Blizzard's copyrighted works. See, now this infringing would be international stuff for their copyrighted material, but I guess you could, I mean, they're not specifically asking for, even though this is the end game, this is what they want. This is the real harm that they're gonna put on private servers. They're going to seek to block private servers from being able to operate, from being able to be played in the United States. That's the end game here. I mean, they're not. I don't see how they're going to get any money out of them. They are going to put a hurt on them, though. So if they can affect, here it is, requiring any and all service providers or vendors providing services to defendants in furtherance of the operation in Turtlewow, including hosting services, payment processing services, that's a big one, domain registration services, content delivery networks, to cease providing such service. This is the harm that they want to put on private servers. If you can stop payment processing, then that's going to make people have to, I mean, as far as U.S. companies are concerned, U.S. payment processors, that's going to make Turtlewow have to try to figure out like an end around. What other services can they cobble together to keep the pipeline of money open? That is the challenge. And when Shenna says that they're gonna work to make sure that they're still in operation, this is the work that they're gonna have to do. This is their big concern. How do we keep the pipeline open? Now, requiring defendants to deliver to Blizzard all copies of materials, all versions, they want all the software. Like, how is that going to be enforced? That's not going to happen. Requiring defendants to remove all social media accounts and profiles. That's going to happen in the U.S. That's what they're going to be able to do that. So, really, that's the end game here is to cut off the United States from private servers. So I was wondering why, like, Ascension wasn't, in my mind, they would have served a lawsuit against Ascension at the same time for the same thing. I don't know why they wouldn't, except for maybe that this is the trial balloon right here. If this works, then to just come after each and every one that appears to be making money. Requiring, to the extent permissible under U.S. law, Internet service providers located in the United States to cease providing access to Turtlewow and the Turtlewow website, such as by blocking or restricting the IP address and transferring the Turtlewow domain name to Blizzard. This is actually a possibility. ICANN could, as a result of either a private settlement or court order, like if the United States federal government hands ICANN the result of this court action, and it says this domain, Turtlewow, should now go to Blizzard, ICANN would do that. They would. Requiring to extend permissible internet, but that doesn't mean they couldn't open up another server. Blocking or restricting the IP addresses, that is what they're going after, to block this in the United States. Interestingly, the U.S. did just have a major case that went to the Supreme Court where this current federal government, which is a fucking mess, they wanted to make sure that no part of the federal judicial system could enforce nationwide injunctions. But that's against the federal government. Now, was there any language in there about something like this, about what would be a federal ban, a nationwide ban issued from one court to ban total access to a foreign entity? I have no idea if there was anything in that court action about this. I would be surprised if there were, but I'm not going to read that to find out. It's probably going to happen, I would assume. What I'm really confused about is why it doesn't specifically state to preliminarily, permanently enjoin operations in the United States right away. It doesn't say that, really. It's more like after the fact, after the court case is done. I don't know. But my interest in any of us that play on private servers in the United States, our interest is going to be, is this the way it's going to be going forward? Because they're going to win most of the parts of this case, because as far as I could see, there isn't going to be anybody there defending the case, or there isn't going to be there's not going to be Turtlewow, the fictitious entity, is not going to be sitting in court. I feel sorry for that Zimmer dude, though. Like, this dude, I don't know if they could come after him personally. He's going to be in a world of hurt. Marketing lead defendant Zimmer. This is the only dude that lives in the U.S. I feel sorry for that dude. I feel sorry for Shagu. I think after his involvement with Turtlewow, he was already hating on Turtlewow and the Turtlewow community. After my brief involvement with Ascension, or not Ascension, but Epic, I was with their team for a little bit. I got to see what private server communities like, and really, you're a bunch of fucking animals. At least when you can't play your game, you turn into a bunch of fucking animals. I can't wait to see what the U.S. private server people are like after this court action happens. And it could take a while. It could take a year for this to happen. Or if this preliminary injunction or enjoinment happens, if this actually means that they can block it right away, then I guess we're going to see pretty fast how this plays out. Anyway, it's all depressing. What's depressing the most is that Blizzard failed to keep its community engaged for some time now. It has been exciting that a lot of these private servers are trying something new. Like I was saying, I tried Turtlewow. I didn't much care for it, but it's cool what they're trying to do. And maybe the evolution of this game is, we don't even know what it's going to be. Like, we didn't know when Blizzard sent its C&D to Nostalrius. We didn't know that we'd eventually get classic servers out of that. We didn't know that was going to happen, even though that's what the Nostalrius guys were hoping for. But in my mind, in my dream world, the end result of this would be that what Blizzard could do, I know this is really bizarre, but if they just had a licensing agreement with people that want to take the Blizzard software, emulate it and create new wild and funky things, if they could just have a licensing agreement, maybe even put them in the Battle.net launcher, legitimize it, legitimize people that want to be creative and create something new and do things that Blizzard never has. The problem with that whole concept is, man, that does dilute the value of your intellectual property. And also there's the problem, like what they're hinting to here that didn't happen, is that it actually cannibalizes your own market, which isn't happening now. The people that are playing, by and large, the great majority of people that play private servers either already play both or would not have played Blizzard as otherwise. And that's why they left Blizzard and went to private servers. And for example, like when Apple took, when Apple decided to license their software, they thought that they would grow the market, and the individual companies that created their own hardware running on Macintosh software just cannibalized and destroyed Apple. That's why when Steve Jobs got back, he's like, no, we got to put an end to this, because it did not help. But in this case, it wouldn't hurt if there could be licensing agreements with Blizzard. Honestly, I think Blizzard should have stopped World of Warcraft after Pandaria. But if they could create like a licensing situation where, they even use Battle.net as their own portal for all these different ideas, I think that would be, really theoretically what they should do is just what Activision should do is spin off the World of Warcraft part of Blizzard and have it run as a licensing agreement. That's what I think. I know it's crazy, but what's Blizzard doing otherwise? Anyway, these are all of my thoughts, crazy as they are.